morning, everyone. Welcome to Jazz and Rock and Roll Horns. All my tuba enthusiasts and drum players and all you musicians out there. And vocalists. I know there's a lot of vocalists and songwriters out there. Anyway, today I thought that we'd do a mailbag. And I get a lot of questions, and I thought it'd be fun for you guys to hear, for everyone to hear some of these. Some of them are real quick, some are a little longer. So here's a question from Albert. Fred, do you have lessons on writing for strings? I don't, but specifically on writing for strings, what I would do is find online, the ranges for strings. Violin, viola, cello is mainly what you're going to be dealing with. Arco bass too. And all of these, the voicing, a C chord is still a C chord, so all that applies. You want to kind of just get into the range of some of the different instruments, and learn, where they sound good at. Now, they can play, they don't have to breathe. So that's one thing to consider, is horn players, they have to, at some point, take a breath, right? String players don't have to do that. But string players have a lot of other things they can do. Tremolos, pizzicato. There's a whole smorgasbord of things that they can do. My string writing has pretty much just been for, media, some film stuff, pretty basic, on a pop tune, writing a nice counter melody in the background. All the arranging techniques that we talked about still apply to strings. And I'll look into strings a little bit more and see if I can come up with any interesting things. My brother knows a lot about strings. He has a youth orchestra back east, so he's constantly dealing with string players. I don't so much. So here's another question. Fred, I was wondering if you do a tutorial on arranging for horns in a salsa music setting. Okay. The best advice I can give for somebody that wants to write salsa, go listen to salsa music. Go listen to what they're doing. A lot of salsa music is, it's determined by, rhythm, clave, all that stuff, right? A lot of what I hear, I love salsa. It's my favorite thing. I actually like it better live than on recording. But I love salsa music. I love Latin, all that stuff. There's still going to be the same kind of voicings, the same, there's no, salsa voicings. It's all going to be block, open. You can do drop one, drop two, all that stuff, 2/4. All that type of thing. I would just recommend listening to what they're doing. Maybe maybe borrow a couple of, ideas as far as like phrasing or, those kind of things. So here's another question. Does it make sense to have a drop 2 with a 4 voice horn arrangement, say trumpet, 110, or 2 trombones? Or is it just for 5 voices? Nope. You can do drop 2. I think in one of the Chicago tunes, on the Video Scores Volume 1, they did a lot of kind of drop. They only have 3 horns, and they did a lot of drops. So basically what happens, though, if you got a C chord, and you drop 2 down to here, now you have an open voicing, Now it's pretty open. Where if you have 5 horns and you drop this down an octave, it's not such, it's not so, with 3 horns you drop the 1 and now you're immediately into an open type voicing. But if we took the C, here's C major 7, we took the C and dropped it down an octave, we're still pretty closed except for the. So I guess there would be a slight difference to answer your question. With 4 horns, yeah, you could try it. If we had 4 horns and we dropped 1, it's going to be the same as 5. But with 3 horns, and obviously it doesn't make any sense with 2 horns. But yeah, with 3, it's gonna open your voicing up quite a bit there. Here's one. You're saying that the alternating triads for any of the harmonized chords in the key all relate to just the fourth and fifth chords of that key. If I was improvising in the key of C but used a 1, 4, 2, 5, 3 progression, I would just keep using the F and the G triads over every one of those chords. Is this also called triad pairs? If so, I guess it's not the vehicle for improv I was expecting. I thought it might be a bit more related to each chord for some reason. Well, yes, you would still use the fourth and fifth degree. I mean, if you're in the key of C, keep in mind that, when you're playing jazz or, things are changing key a lot. The song isn't just the same key all the way through. But let's say that if the whole song is in C, and let's say you're doing, like an E minor chord to an A minor chord to an F chord to a G chord, yeah, they would always, you could alternate 4 and 5 all day long if you wanted, under these roots, under those roots. Keep in mind though that when you do F and G under E minor, it's going to be Phrygian, right? Because, and under the A minor, it's going to be Aeolian. But yeah, if you're in a certain key and you're staying in that key, chords built on the fourth and fifth degree, you can alternate those all day long, and it's going to sound great. It totally works. Let me see that. What else do we got here? Here's one from Santiago. It seems like the wrong chords are an easy way for the improvers to get the suggested extensions without thinking too much. Is it faster to think on a B augmented chord than it is to think on what is the 7, 9, and plus 11 of A? So yeah, a B augmented is the 7th, the 9th, and the plus 11 of an A7 chord. I guess you could do that if you wanted. I don't think like that. I just see the chord, and I'm so used to seeing the chord. It's second nature for me to know where the plus 11 is. What I use in this case is I like to use polychords, or as our friend earlier said, what did he call it? Triad pairs. Well, that's not the same. He's talking about alternating triads. But with polychords, if I want to get a plus 11, a lot of times I'll think, oh, B major over A7. So the B major over the A7 is, the B is the 9, the D sharp is the plus 11, and the F sharp is the 13. That's how I kind of think. Or I might think A7 with an F triad over the top, which would give me my flat 13, the roots in there, and the plus 9, the C, which would be the plus 9. That's more how I think than I don't think augmented. When I can see an augmented, a B augmented written on the chart, then I know something's fishy, unless it's a line progression. So if I see B augmented, B6, B major 7, that's just the, that's just a line. That's just, you've heard that. You've all heard that. That's where augmented chords come in. Otherwise, they're usually if they're in a jazz composition, they're usually the wrong chord, and they need to be fixed. They need to be substituted out, and typically they're put in there instead of the right dominant 5 chord. And I talk all about that in the expanded ebook. I have a whole section on fixing the right chords. Your 6 minor, your 6 minor chord your augmented chord, those kind of things. I cover all those. Okay, so let me see. What was the other one that I want to? Okay, can the trombone play harmony while sax and trumpet do a melodic unison? Yeah, you can do anything you want. If it works, you like the way it sounds, there's nobody telling you can't do that. Okay? That could be beautiful. Maybe you've got the trumpet and the sax playing in unison or octaves. Okay? And maybe the trombone is playing something countering it. Or maybe the trombone and the keyboard player are playing a little thing together. Mix up the orchestration. You could try anything. Experiment. It's nice to kind of know the basics. What I showed you over the last few years is kind of like the basic stuff that you need to know so you know what you're doing. And then if you want to try stuff, do it. Here's an interesting one. So people that have problem with reading, go online. Keep this in mind too. You don't have to, be an expert reader. Just learn, it's not that difficult. Your horn players in your band can help you. But just to get some basic stuff, eighth notes, quarter notes, half notes, that kind of stuff. That's pretty easy to conquer. Figure out your chord changes and work in concert, okay? Don't think about transposing. You play an A on the piano or on your guitar, you write an A on the stave, okay? Then, when it's time to, you gotta go from score to your individual parts. Then you wanna, okay, so we have a trumpet part. The note that we're gonna hear is a C, okay? Now the trumpet, for who knows why, when they first built the trumpet, somebody probably knows all this stuff. I'm not that familiar with it. For some reason, the trumpet was built in B flat. They do have, I believe, C trumpets, but the vast majority of trumpets you run into are going to be in B flat. So what is B flat? B flat is a whole step down. So basically, the trumpet's in B flat. So when he plays a B flat, on his horn, it's a C, okay? We hear a B flat, but on his horn, when he sees a C and he hits those valves and he plays a certain note, when he sees C, we're gonna hear a B flat in reality, okay? So if we want him to play this C here, that concert C, concert meaning the actual note, we need him to play a D, okay? Just write the trumpet up a whole step. So when he sees D on his horn, when he plays a D on his horn, we're going to hear a C. It's that simple, okay? Alto sax. If we want him to play this C, we have to write an A because the alto sax is in E flat, just like the baritone, okay? So that whole thing. The trombone is in concert. You don't have to worry about trombone. Tenor sax is a ninth, is a whole step, and then to get it up in the treble clef, even though the note he's playing is this C, that's actual what we're hearing down here, we got to play. He's in B flat, right? Like the trumpet, he's in B flat, so we got to go up a whole step, right? So instead of the C, he's going to play. We want to write this D right here, but the tenor sax reads in treble clef. Doesn't read, even though he's sounding down here in bass clef, he reads in tenor clef. So that's why we have to add the extra octave to it to get it in the right clef, basically. So he's written up a ninth, which is a whole step and an octave. And then the baritone is up a 13th, like the E flat sax, he's in E flat. So to get him up in the treble clef, we go up an octave and a sixth. So there's the little trick to baritone is, let's say you're writing in the bass clef, And let's say here's your parts. Okay. Here, let's do this just for something different. All you do is, let's say that's what we hear, and that's the actual part we want the baritone to play, okay? That's the part we want him to play. That's what we want to hear coming out of that baritone. Go like this. Oh, shoot. Change it to treble clef. Done. Now, the other thing you have to do on these, and this will really help you, is change your key signature. So when you're transposing your part, and let's say the trumpet is playing, you know, a B flat, okay? And let's say he's in the key of B flat. On his horn, what's up a whole step from B flat? C. So we change the key signature from B flat to C, okay? The other thing to remember, this is back in the days when we did everything by hand before we had finale and everything. If there's an accidental on your part, let's say you're writing, and let's say this, you know, we're in the key of D, and this is a natural, C natural, not a C sharp. There's going to be an accidental on your copied part too, okay? So if you have any questions on that, let me know. Get back to me. But yeah, it's pretty easy. You know, trumpets are up a whole. You got to write the trumpet part up a whole step. But when you're working to your arrangement, you're brainstorming, you're like, forget about. I mean, people with more experience and that are used to it, yeah, I can work with a transpose score, you know, blah blah blah. But when you're just learning, work in concert so you can brainstorm and come up with those ideas. The ideas, everything else is just, you know, is just, you know, tools and that sort of thing. Really what you're after is brainstorming your parts, those ideas. And so I think for especially more beginning people, it would be better. Your ideas will come out better, and you won't be so hindered by all this extra level of knowledge, this extra level of, okay, this is what I want him to play, but now I have to transpose the part. Screw it. Just write it down at concert. When it's time to do the horn parts, hell, give the transpose. Just give it to your trumpet player. Have him copy his own damn part, or copy the parts later. But initially, when you're brainstorming your arrangement, just work in concert. It's so much, and even do it by hand. You know, forget finale. You know, you can use finale if you want, but that's an extra layer. You know, when you're sitting there and you're in the groove and you're trying to, it's so much easier sometimes to just pick up a pencil and go, blah, 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 then, okay, finale, let me see now. By this time, you've forgotten what you were going to write. Just get a piece of manuscript paper, use a pencil with an eraser, you'll be erasing a lot, okay? Get a soft lead, a number 2 soft lead, go to art store. I used to go to the art store and get these nice soft, they're dark, they're soft, they erase really easily. Get a nice big eraser and work by hand. I still work by hand. It's fast, you know. None of this horsing around unless you're really proficient on finale, you know. But I'm thinking about the people that are just starting out. The reading chops might be not totally together. But anyway. Anyway, so that's Mailbag for today. I love hearing your questions. Send me any questions you have. I love hearing from you. I like taking the time to answer questions. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, so here it is, Fred at fredstickleymusic.com. And also come and check out the new expanded ebook and the video scores volume 1. You'll love it. I think it's a lot of people are digging it, and I'm working on volume 2 right now. And I think it's going to be that one's going to be a lot of fun too. So until we meet again, thanks for stopping by.